Everybody. Tonya Hall here on Great Gospel Radio, 1040 AM KGGR, and we're back at it again with your beloved Rob Stern and Lenders Residential. Rob is in the house to tell us all about if you're interested in getting a house, if you have a house and you need to be refinanced. Rob Stern is your gentleman that you need to call over at Lenders Residential. Rob, welcome to the show again. Your show, as I said last week, welcome to your show.
Well, thank you very much, Tonya. It's really great to be here. I look forward to the next 30 minutes.
Absolutely. So go ahead and begin with what we always do. Those that may be new, someone may have advised someone to listen to your show. Tell us all about you and Lenders Residential.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tonya. So I am a mortgage banker. My name is Rob Stern. I've done this now for the past 32 years. As such, obviously, I've gained quite a bit of knowledge and insight into the community, but more importantly, I've been working specifically with KGGR, with 970 AM and the Heaven 97 family for the past close to the past 23 years.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of people into homes that wouldn't otherwise expect to be homeowners. So I think that's a very important piece. As a direct lender, we have access to quite a few products that are not readily available in the general marketplace. So the reason I bring that up is because I will do a VA mortgage loan with no minimum credit score requirement whatsoever, which is pretty unusual in the market right now. Really, all we're doing is just following the rules that the Veterans Administration has given to us, but others choose to put these risk-based overlays in place that require high credit scores and low debt ratios. In addition, I can do an FHA loan all the way down to a 500 credit score. So those two products combined not only make up a large part of my business, but more importantly, we put a lot of people into homes that didn't think they were qualified or could qualify to purchase a home, Tonya. And that is literally what we're all about. We want to empower our community. We want to enable our listeners, our viewers, to become homeowners so that they can stop throwing that money away that we all work very hard for by renting. That's not necessary in most cases.
Absolutely. Now let's go back to some of those wonderful benefits that veterans have. Someone may be listening, maybe they didn't know that even if they have not so great credit, that veterans still can get a great deal through a veterans program. Explain a little bit more about that.
Sure. Yes, ma'am. So a veteran will never have a down payment, ever. Never, ever, never. And the reason that's important is because the VA loan is a no down payment mortgage loan. With that understanding, there's always going to be closing costs involved. But even with no minimum credit score, the veteran will have no down payment whatsoever to consider when it comes to buying that home. So again, there's a lot of opportunities out there for veterans. Now, something else to consider is that as a direct VA mortgage lender, as a direct VA conduit, we will go all the way up to a 65% debt to income ratio. That is 30% higher than a traditional mortgage loan, Tonya. And because of that, veterans can purchase a lot more of a home than they would expect. Now, to compound that even further, if you are a veteran with any type of a disability, you can be excused from paying property taxes. And I know you're a homeowner, so obviously you know how expensive property taxes can be.
Yes.
If you are a veteran with 100% disability, there will be no property taxes assessed to you whatsoever. If you have disabilities less than 100%, you will still be excused from paying property taxes proportionately. You'll just need to reach out to the municipality where you choose to buy the home and get that piece straightened out. So if you're a veteran—
I'm sorry, Rob, to interrupt you. Did I hear you say that veterans are excused from taxes, period?
Yes, ma'am. If you're a veteran with 100% disability, you will have no property taxes whatsoever.
Wow.
None. Now, again, to be totally honest, right, a veteran who has given his all for this country, in my opinion, deserves to have these opportunities.
Absolutely.
A veteran, deserves everything we can offer to them and more, just as a thank you for standing up for you and I.
Absolutely.
But interestingly enough, there are a lot of companies who choose to put these risk-based overlays in place that prevent or preclude veterans from becoming homeowners. It's really not necessary. They're trying to protect their own portfolios. It has nothing to do with what the VA truly wants to see in a mortgage loan.
Absolutely. Well, those are great things to know for those that are veterans or have someone. Now, let me ask you this. Is a widow of a veteran able to use the veterans benefits to buy them a home if he or she has already passed on?
That's a great question. Yes, ma'am. The widow of a veteran is typically entitled to all of the same entitlements that the veteran's entitled to. Plus, that widow can get something that's typically called a widow's pension or the veteran's income from the VA. If there are any widows or widowers, for that matter, that are listening to this broadcast that have lost someone with who is a veteran, you need to reach out to the VA if you have not already and ascertain exactly what those benefits are. Because yes, in most cases they can use the VA benefit to purchase a home, and I've actually helped quite a few widows become homeowners. In some cases, there's no taxes either. So yes, ma'am, that is a significant entitlement that is respective just to the VA loan. And again, if you're a veteran and you don't own a home right now, there truly is no reason not to strive for that opportunity. It's your right, and you should take advantage of it.
Absolutely. That is great to know. You're listening to Lenders Residential with Rob Stern, heard every Friday here on KGGR beginning at 1 o'clock. If you'd like to call in to ask Rob Stern any questions, the phone lines are open for you. 972-988-1040 or 1040. Again, 972-988-1040. Rob, give them your contact number in case they don't want to talk on the air. They just like to talk to you personally.
Yes, ma'am. My telephone number and contact information is 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. And you can also find me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas. That is LenderStexas.com. Or you can find me on Facebook as the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about veterans. Let's go over and talk about first-time home buyers. Somebody may be a little scared to jump into the pool of a home buyer, and they're saying, it's just so much, and I don't make enough, and I don't have a perfect credit score. And what about that down payment? Are there any grants or anything benefits out here for first-time owners? Let's look at women. Since the number one household, especially in the African American community, is a single parent.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
what about a single parent that says, I want to try and buy a home? Are there any special grants or anything for single parent homes, first time buyers?
Yes, ma'am. There are special programs that are available out there. We have worked very closely with the state of Texas and developed along with them a program that will allow them money for down payment or closing costs. Now, of course, this is a product that is going to be driven by credit score to a large extent. That starts out at a 600 credit score. I've got a couple of outlets for this product. Now, I also want to include the fact that this program can be used on a VA loan as well. So, on a VA loan where you have no down payment whatsoever, you can actually get a grant for the closing costs that will help through the product. Again, the whole reason we've done this show for all of these years, and the whole reason why we have achieved the level of success that we've achieved together is because people call. People have to call. You have to, we can empower you to be a homeowner once you once you actually take the time to give us a call and let's build the file. You have to, what's the expression? You have to walk before you run.
Yeah.
You got to give us a call, begin the product, or begin the process, and we'll put you into the right product and turn you into a homeowner. Or if you are a homeowner currently and perhaps you're thinking about refinancing, now is a great time to look at refinancing. Rates have actually dipped backwards a little bit, so that's a good thing. How long they will stay lower, I don't know. And when we're talking about lower rates, we're not looking at rates that are back again in the threes where we were at one point in time.
Yeah.
But rates have settled off a little bit. If you are looking to refinance your home, take equity out, Tonya, this is the perfect time. Interest rates are going up on your credit cards. They're going up on everything that we do. If you have equity in your house, now is the right time to use that equity. Eliminate as much debt as you possibly can, so that you give yourself some breathing room when it comes to paying your bills every month.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about, I heard you say build a file in the starting process, and that the only way that you can see what you qualify for, or to get the process started on to home ownership, is to begin. Let's talk about that, building a file.
Yes, ma'am. And it sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But a lot of people are afraid. A lot of people have been told no, and because of that dreaded word, those dreaded two letters, no, they're embarrassed. They don't want to call. There is no shame whatsoever in calling. Everybody has the ability to become a homeowner. Everybody has the ability to position themselves for home ownership, but you got to start somewhere, and that's really all there is to it. Whether it's a matter of your credit not being where it needs to be, or perhaps you don't have the income that you need to have, or perhaps it's the down payment and the closing costs. You should have somebody who is knowledgeable and professional take a look at everything to fully assess the opportunities that are available for you, so that when it is time to move forward, you can move forward with relative confidence. That's really the whole purpose behind why we've done this show for all these years. Our goal is to help as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. I think the number one reason why a lot of people stop, Rob, before and keep renting is because they say to themselves, I don't have any money for a down payment. It's, I don't have all this money saved up. What is the normal down payment for let's just say a basic home under 200,000 or under 250,000?
Sure. So we'll use $200,000 as a number. On an FHA loan, your down payment at 3.5% would be $7,000. Now, it doesn't matter where that $7,000 comes from, as long as I can see where it comes from. One of the bigger difficulties that we have is called sourcing the funds. And I know you bought a house, so you're probably familiar with that term.
Yeah.
We have to see where that money comes from.
Right.
It can come out of your 401k. It can be money that you get from your Uncle Bob or Aunt Sue or whoever. We just have to be able to follow the money trail. We have to be able to see where the money came from and exactly how much was transferred to you. Now, the one thing to remember is we cannot use cash. Cash is a big problem when it comes to a mortgage loan. The reason, quite simply, is because cash is not traceable. We can't see where the cash came from. Yeah. It could very easily be mattress money that you've saved for years and years. I speak to a lot of people who literally have money that they've saved at home, whatever, in the top of their closet or wherever, over the years, and they've accumulated a significant amount of money. Well, the problem is, if it's not in a bank, it's not sourceable. It's not money that can be trailed, and that's a problem for any lender.
Wow, that is a good tip to know that, because a lot of people save money, large amounts of money at home. They keep it in safes and things like that sometimes. And so you're saying they would have to put that money in a bank institution for you all to be able to pull it from an institution.
Yes, ma'am. We want to see that money coming from a bank account. So what happens quite often is that they will go to a relative who has that type of money in their bank account, and they will get a gift from their relative in the same amount, and then switch it out. So for my purposes, I have fully documentable money, and for everybody else's purposes, things are copacetic. There's a lot of ways to work through this to make it all happen. But again, you need a guide. You need somebody to hold your hand through the entire process, and that's the biggest problem. I am listed with the Better Business Bureau with an A++ rating. Have been for 20 some odd years. When it comes to making a choice, when it comes to the biggest purchase you will ever make in your entire life, you need to work with somebody who will walk you through the process and help you be a knowledgeable consumer. You want to come from a position of strength, not a position of weakness.
Absolutely. Let me give you the number to call again. If you'd like to call in, Rob Stern is here for you. Any questions you may have, he'd love to answer them. The studio line number is 972-988-1040, or you may call Rob directly if you don't want to speak online. His number is 972-739-2350. Again, you're listening to Linder's Residential Show with your host, Rob Stern. I'm Tonya Hall. And Rob, let's talk about real estate agents. Now, I know you're a lender, a mortgage company, but do you all provide so many services? I'm just checking. Do you provide real estate?
This is actually a great question. Over my 32 years of doing this, I've developed several really strong relationships with a lot of realtors. Perhaps we've got some realtors that are listening or watching to us. I would encourage them to reach out and give me a call. I don't have a specific realtor that I refer out to, but I do vet my realtors very carefully, and I will refer realtors out from time to time when the need arises. A lot's going to depend on who the consumer is, where they want to live, what it is they're trying to do. I've got access to realtors to the far north and access to the realtors far south to the edge of Fort Worth and beyond. And actually realtors that I work with throughout the state of Texas. So, we're going to do our best to match people together. But in all fairness, by allowing us to help you with a realtor, quite literally what you're doing is working with somebody that we know we can trust, and that's very important.
That's very important. The realtor is very important. Now, let me ask you another question about when you're considering borrowing. So you know how sometimes people will come in and they'll say, I saw a $400,000 dream home I would love. And they're first-time buyers, single mom, may not have as much income as their taste is.
Right.
How do you guide them with that? Must their income meet the amount they're asking to borrow for? Give them a little advice on that.
Right. So a mortgage loan is driven by something called your debt to income ratio. Yes, ma'am. Your debt to income ratio is based on the amount of your documentable income, which is very important, documentable income, and the documentable debt, meaning if the debt doesn't show up on your credit report, then I have no way of seeing it or knowing about it. So what we will do is we will create a ratio that takes into consideration the estimated expense of your mortgage loan, meaning your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, plus your debt, in order to create a debt to income ratio using the documentable income that we have. It's a relatively simple formula that all lenders have to use. The reality is what we'll do is we'll end up backing into how much of a home you can afford once we know exactly what kind of money you owe. So the very first thing that we do in a mortgage transaction, Tonya, is we will pull somebody's credit and build the file accordingly after we know exactly what it is that we're dealing with. It's quite honestly a very painless and quick process, but we have to start somewhere. And again, I can't stress it enough. If you want to become a homeowner and you're tired of wasting your money paying rent, please give us a call today. Stop throwing your money away. We all know that rent is only going to go up, and owning a home gives you the ability to lock in your principal and interest payment, as well as live in your investment, whereas right now you're living literally in someone else's investment.
Absolutely. Let's talk about underwriting. Is that a service that you provide over there at Lenders?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. As a direct lender, we have all of our underwriters in-house. Everybody works for the company. That makes it a lot easier for us because we know not only exactly who we're working with, but more importantly, we underwrite to our own guidelines. And this is an important point. When you work with a broker, you're working with somebody who is going to shop that loan out to a myriad of different lenders and underwriters. We underwrite every single loan that we close. We have our own shipping, our own funding, our own underwriters, our own processors. Everything we do is in-house. And because it's in-house, we have a tremendous amount of control. And more importantly, we have the ability to create our own guidelines. So we literally underwrite to circumstances as we see them necessitated by FHA or the Veterans Administration or USDA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, whomever.
Let me ask you something, Rob. In the process of home buying, do you all help to get them ready to buy a home? Say they come in, you're trying to build a file on them. The first thing you do is pull their credit, see where they're at, their income and all that. If they're not where they need to be at that moment, are you able to get them to that moment where they actually can buy a home?
Yes, ma'am. That actually is our goal. Part of being entrenched in the community as I am, my relationship is to turn everyone into a homeowner. That's my ultimate goal. So whether you're ready now or whether we have to work a little bit moving forward, I will never say no to somebody. Rather, I will tell them not now, but later. We will work towards a goal, create an action plan for success, and as long as all parties meet that plan, we're in a good place. I think the downside to everything that we see happening is that people have a tendency to give up if they're not being effectively managed on that path towards success.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you all have in-house someone that can help them with their credit, or do you recommend someone? Because a lot of times it's the credit.
Yeah, Tonya, I would never really recommend anybody go to a credit repair company per se. After all these years of doing this, I've got a really good handle on what will work and what won't work, what my underwriters want to see, what they will not acknowledge. So again, it's just a matter of starting at square one. Square one is the interview. And when I say it's the interview, it's literally no different than a job interview. I'm going to ask about income. I'm going to look at your credit. I'm going to ask about your desires, what you want to do, where you want to live, how much you want to spend. Once we have all this information, we will aggregate it together to come up with an action plan to move forward and figure out exactly how best to satisfy the consumer. It's what I've done for all these years. It's what I'll continue to do. I think the reality is it's a very effective way to operate, but it requires cooperation on all parts. It means that if you are desiring to purchase a home, you need to give us a call and let's start the process.
Absolutely. Start the process. Well, Rob, we got about 2 minutes left before we leave. I want you to give us an example of a latest story of glory regarding someone that came to Lenders Residential that was in despair, but walked out saying, hallelujah.
Absolutely. Okay. So last week I closed a veteran with the gentleman had a 535 credit score. He bought he purchased a $325,000 mobile home sitting on 2 acres. Thought he could never become a homeowner because of his credit. And not only did we close on his mortgage loan, but quite literally he had just gone through a divorce 4 weeks earlier. So he was in total despair, had nowhere to go, didn't know what he was going to do. And left in not only in a positive note, but in a much better place for himself and his children. So, but this is typical of the stories. This is typical of the stories that we see so often when you're dealing with when you deal in a retail fashion as we do, and as I have for all these years. I literally touch thousands, if not tens of thousands of people over my career. These stories are repetitive over and over and over again, not only for myself, but for the loan officers in my company. Our goal, again, is to serve the community as best we can. We want to put people into homes. We want to help them position themselves financially for the future benefit of themselves and their family.
Absolutely. And that's what you guys have been doing for many, many years. Well, Rob, I want you to give out your information, all your social media platforms, because I know somebody wants to talk to you at Lenders Residential.
I appreciate that. And I'm ready for the call. My telephone number is going to be 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. You can also find me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas. That's going to be spelled out LendersTexas.com. Or you can find me on Facebook as the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team.
Absolutely. And before we get out of here, we got about another minute. We're going to invite people to call in 972-988-1040. Again, 972-988-1040 if you'd like to ask Rob any last minute questions. Rob, before we go, I want you to tell me what's the most important thing a first-time home buyer needs to know before they go toward any lender's company.
Wow. The most important thing you need to know as a consumer is do not give up. Don't give up. Continue to move forward with confidence and with a goal in mind. You know, this is not an easy market to buy a house. It's a very active market right now, and so you may end up having to make several offers in order to succeed. But the reality is, everybody will end up becoming a homeowner at some juncture. Make sure you're using a good lender. Make sure that you're using a good realtor, and success is inevitable at some point.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for Lenders Residential. Rob Stern, join us back here next Friday.